Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion on the best junglers for Season 5, Patch 5.3. So first up on my list, I have Sejuani. Pros to Sejuani are she has a game-changing ultimate. If you can get her ultimate off on multiple targets in a team fight, then you're going to have a really good chance at winning that team fight, and it's also very long range, so it's a really good pick she has really good pick potential with it. She's also really tanky, and she's got a lot of CC because of her Q, her E, and her ultimate. She also has mobility with her Q, which is really nice for either engaging. You can also use it to jump over walls or just to escape. And she also has very strong level 6 ganks because of all of her CC. And she's also got pretty solid clear speeds as well. Cons to Sejuani are she does lack damage compared to some of the junglers on my list. Next up on my list, I have Rengar. Pros to Rengar are his E snare is very strong. Whenever you're ganking as Rengar, you want to make sure you have full ferocity so that you can get that E snare off, because it snares them for a very long duration, and most of the time you're going to be able to at least burn the enemy's flash if you can land it. He's also got crazy burst damage. He's basically the opposite of Sejuani. He does a ton of damage, and if you do go full AD on Rengar, you can pretty much 100 to 0 any squishy in the game come late game. He's also got great pick potential with his ultimate, and he's got very strong level 6 ganks. He can do something which a lot of junglers can't do, which is lane gank. So if the enemies have the tri-bush warded, say you're looking for a gank down bot lane and the enemies have the tri-bush warded and they also have the river bush warded, what you can do is you can just come for a lane gank, use your ultimate, jump on the opponents and snare them with your E, and it just allows him to pull off some ganks that other junglers wouldn't be able to do. He's also a very good chaser in the jungle because of his passive, and the Orianna Rengar combo is really strong. If you haven't tried it out, I'd definitely recommend it. What you do is whoever is playing Orianna, they place the ball on Rengar, and when Rengar jumps in with his ultimate, then Orianna uses her shockwave to get some good CC off in team fights. Cons to Rengar are he is weak if he falls behind, since he is an all-in burst champion. If he falls behind, then he's not going to be able to jump in and assassinate his target, and he also doesn't have any mobility. Next up on my list, I have Fiddlesticks. Pros to Fiddle are he has very strong CC with his Q and his E. He's also got really good sustain in the jungle because of his W, and his ultimate is pretty game-changing. If you can get a ultimate off in a team fight, even if you're behind, just the amount of damage it does, it could single-handedly win you that fight and bring you back into the game. He's also got very strong level 6 ganks because of all of his CC and because of his very strong damage from his ultimate, and he counters movement speed engaged champions. For example, Udyr, Hecarim, any champions that require some sort of movement speed to engage, he counters them really hard because all he has to do is use his fear and then their engage is completely negated. He's also useful even if he falls behind, like I said, and he can easily solo Dragon early in the game because of his drain. Cons to Fiddle are he doesn't have any mobility, and he is also very mana hungry in the early game, so if you're playing against a Fiddlesticks and you feel like you want to be a little bit risky and try to invade his blue buff, it's definitely not a bad choice, because if you can end up stealing that blue from Fiddlesticks, then it's going to set him behind quite a bit. Next up on my list, I have Vi. Pros to Vi are she's got very strong ganks, pre-6 and when she hits level 6. She's also got pretty strong clear speeds because of her E and her W, and she's a press R to win champion in my opinion. Her ultimate's pretty easy to use, and when you hit level 6, if you go down bot lane and you use your ultimate on the enemy AD carry, as long as your team follows up, you're pretty much guaranteed the kill. She also has great CC because of her Q and her ultimate, and she's a really strong duelist as well. She's also a bruiser, so she can go a little bit of damage and then go full tank after that. A con to Vi are she does require some communication, because if you're gonna be using your ultimate on the enemy AD carry in a team fight and your team doesn't follow up, then you could just go in on them and get bursted down really quickly. So you gotta make sure that you're pinging or telling your team that you're going in, because with Vi, I find a lot of times if I don't communicate with my team, I'll just go in, use my ultimate on the enemy AD carry, I'll lock him down, but my team doesn't follow up, so then I'll just end up dying. So number 1 on my list for patch 5.3 is Jarvan. Pros to Jarvan he's got really strong ganks, pre-6 and at level 6, just like Vi. He's also an amazing team fighter because of his EQ knockup combo and because of his ultimate. And if you haven't tried out the Gnar Jarvan combo, I would definitely recommend it, because what makes the combo so strong is when Jarvan uses his ultimate, Gnar can use his ultimate into the Jarvan ultimate to get the Gnar stun, and it just allows you to get the Gnar stun even if you aren't around walls, so that makes the combo quite strong. He's also got great utility with his E. He can use it to escape with his EQ combo. He can use it as a ward to place over Dragon or Baron, or just to get vision on wherever he wants. And he can also use it to steal Dragon or Baron, because he can place his E over the wall, get the vision on it, and then go in when he needs to. He also has a very strong ultimate. Like I said, in teamfights, if you can lock down a couple targets, then your chances of winning that teamfight are going to be very high. And he is also a bruiser, so he can build a few damage items. I usually like to go 1 or 2 damage items on Jarvan and then go full tank after that. Cons to Jarvan his EQ combo can be hard to land at times if the enemies are strafing back and forth. And his ultimate is weak against some champions. For example, Ezreal, Nidalee. Champions that have some sort of gap closer or dash are strong against Jarvan because they can just get out of his ultimate pretty easily. So my first honorable mention for this patch is Hecarim. Hecarim is a really strong team fighter. He actually does a pretty good amount of damage if you build him damage. I'd recommend building him Bruiser though, because you're going to be engaging with your ultimate in team fights and you're going to be getting in there and close up, so you're going to want to be able to take some hits. So I wouldn't recommend going full damage on Hecarim. Go like Trinity Force, Youmuu's Ghostblade is usually what I do on him, and then I go full tank after that. Pantheon is definitely one of the strongest early game junglers in the game because of his stun with his W, and he's also got really strong level 6 ganks because of his ultimate. The reason why I don't have him on my top 5 is because if he falls behind, then he's pretty useless. You really want to make sure that you're getting those ganks off as Pantheon in the early game, and especially when you hit level 6, look to gank bot lane with your ultimate, because if you can't get those ganks off in the early game, then he is pretty weak if you can't pick up any kills with him. Next up on the honorable mentions, I have Nidalee. So Nidalee, the reason why she's not on my top 5 is because she lacks CC, and unless you are really good at landing your spears, then her ganks aren't the strongest. However, if you can land her spear, then her ganks are pretty good, but they're still not as good as someone like a Vi or a Jarvan. She does have really good sustain in the jungle though because of her heal on her E, and she can also use her W to root the monsters, which is really good for just negating a lot of the damage coming out from them. Warwick is definitely one of the easier junglers on my list, so if you're new to jungle, I definitely recommend picking up Warwick. He's got really great sustain in the jungle, and his ultimate is really strong. If you can get your ultimate off on the enemy squishy or the enemy high priority target in a team fight, then you're doing your job well as Warwick. Amumu is one of the best teamfighting junglers because of his ultimate. If you can get his ultimate off on multiple targets in a teamfight, then you're gonna basically win that team fight most of the time, as long as your team is either even or ahead of the enemies. He's also got pretty strong early game ganks because of his bandage toss, and he's got pretty good dragon and baron steal potential as well with his Q. Wukong is also a very good team fighter because of his ultimate. When you hit level 6's Wukong, definitely look to gank bot lane because his ultimate is so strong and you're probably going to be able to pick up at least 1 kill if you can use your W and then engage with your E and then use your ultimate, and you're going to be able to knock them up and get a ton of damage off on them. Last on my honorable mentions is Rek'Sai. So Rek'Sai is still a pretty good pick. She's been getting quite a few nerfs lately though, and I don't think that she is as strong as she was before. Before she was just really strong, and I probably should have had her on one of my top 5s in one of my previous videos, but I do think that she is still a pretty strong pick. She's got really good mobility because of her E, and she's got great ganks because of the knockup from her W. So that was all for the video, guys. If you enjoyed, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.